Good evening, everybody. My name's WompCult, and tonight we're going to be talking about AI. If that sounds interesting to you, feel free to stick around. So, when I say AI, what's this really about? What's the video about? Um, to an extent, I want to cover a couple things. The first is sort of like the sort of realization that it's everywhere, um, where I think that's going to sort of bring us whether we want to go there or not, and kind of the result of that, right? So, and I've said this before in many of my videos, but AI wasn't a thing when I was in high school, right? I'm an undergraduate student in college, so like many of you, you know, AI wasn't really a thing I thought of frequently, and now it is, and now it's in our lives, whether we want it to be or not. And I think there are pros and cons to that, obviously, but I guess my biggest gripe with it is sort of the slop that it produces. And this is a main reason why I stopped enjoying the things I usually enjoy, and I sort of enjoy things differently now. And I kind of am getting closer and closer to physical media, which I don't think people realize how much. At least I'm not sure how many other people in my generation who are my age are doing this. I know there are some, and I know there is sort of a trend to dumb down your phone and get like a iPod or a flip phone. Which I'm not gonna lie, if I broke the phone that I'm recording this on, um, I would have done that. I have flip phones. You guys have probably seen them. I mean, I collect things like that, right? So I guess my biggest gripe with it is that it's forcing you to use it, and it's in everything. And I think that would be great if it didn't suck. Um, I can't tell you how many times I've either tried to use AI for something or have used it to, just try to get a general idea of something, and it gives me something that's completely wrong and hallucinates. And there are definitely some that are better than others now, and obviously it's just going to get better. But I think part of the issue is that these things cost millions of dollars, right? I think the last time I heard anything about Sam Altman, is it Sam Altman? Pretty sure it's Sam Altman. The person who owns like ChatGPT and stuff, OpenAI, they were melting graphics cards, which is great for science, right? But to an extent, I think there's a line, right? Like that's insane, and it's cool, but it is insane, and I don't see why. I think part of the issue is there's a disconnect, right? I think that there are these large companies that make billions of dollars every year, if not trillions, and they think, how are we going to make the trillion next year, right? For the next quarter. That's what all of those companies do. And I think a big issue with that is they try to predict what their consumers want, and when they don't accurately get a prediction, they either get someone else who can predict them accurately, or they use media to get people to think they want that. Which again, hey, don't hate the play, hate the game, right? Um, but like why can I generate AI emojis on my phone? Why do I think I've done it like once, and it's like funny, but like I think I think the modern day I think the best way to put it is the modern day fart joke is an AI joke, right? Um, just for the sheer factor that you because like it's funny for like the first like two or three of them you do, and then you're like, this is just slop, like because and especially when you're scrolling or something, which I'll get into in a bit, like I talked about previously. But after you see it, it's just like, okay, this is like, huh, like, and you can tell that it's made by AI. It has like that weird shine. It doesn't really look real. um and honestly, it's been pissing me off. Just because and I'm someone who does I'm very into tech. I like computers. Maybe I'm not that into tech, but to be honest with you, I don't think there's a better time to be bold about something than now, right? And I think I'd be kind of doing a disservice to people if I didn't give my opinions on things, which is probably why you're here. um, and my accreditations are that I have four eyes, right? And I got beat up a couple times when I'm a kid, right? I'm a nerd. Nerd is gonna talk about nerd stuff, but it pisses me off, and I kind of hate it, to be honest with you, because it doesn't seem useful at all. And obviously, you can put prompts into ChatGPT. You can get it to do your homework. You can help you with code. You can help you with your lab. Sure, that's like a practical application of it. That makes sense. What I don't understand is why every other company feels the need to do their own. Um, and it kind of just feels like redundant, right? Because obviously, like, you have the tech giants, they're gonna have their own, right? You have like, you have your Unix based operating systems. You have your what's it called? I don't know why I started to think of that, but you get what I'm saying. And I think a large part of that is that, obviously you're going to have a couple that compete with each other because they're tech giants. That makes sense, right? What I will never understand ever is why, like, smaller companies are doing it, or they are integrating features into it. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. And then that sort of goes into my next thing, which is like, it's all over the internet. Like, like I know Twitter's a shitstorm. Twitter's always been like a shitstorm. But, and also I'm calling it Twitter. I'm not gonna call it X. That's fucking stupid. Like, huh? That, oh my god, dude. I don't even want to get into Musk's whole like X fetish. Guy has a fetish about the letter in an alphabet. Like, what? Um, he must have had like a hard on during like the 90s when everything was like Weapon X, Project X, like the superhero movies, He that must have been a great year for him. He must have been rock hard during all of it. Point being that like, I don't need Gronk or Grok or whatever the hell it is. I don't need it. And maybe I'm sitting here and maybe I'm alone in this take. I don't really give a shit, to be completely honest with you, my fellow WompCult viewers, because it's just kind of slop. It makes slop, and at that point, you should make your own slop, right? You should do this. Do what I'm doing. Um, I've said this before. I've said this in private. I've said it drunk. I'll say it again, right? If no one watches this channel, if no one watches WompCult, I'm content, right? Because I'm creating something that I think doesn't exist. I'm making an art form that I don't think is currently being curated, and I'm giving that to the world. What the world wants to do with that is up to it, but I'm doing that, and this is real. And, I think that's important more now than ever, for people like me to do this, and for people like you to do this, or make your own thing. You should go create something, because the sad truth is that if you don't, you're gonna end up using something that AI made, and that's horrible. And as much as I think it's funny to joke about, like, oh, guys, I killed, like, the polycule twunk, they brought AI porn to the goon sesh. Like, it gets to a limit where it's just insanity. And I think we live in a very dangerous world. I think we live in a very crazy world. And, that's fine. But I think it gets to a limit, and I'm not gonna lie, I think my limit was like a couple years ago. uh, to be honest with you, I will never wrap my head around. And like I said, modern day fart joke, like, AI is just, you're scrolling AI, scrolling AI, and that's not even the back end stuff where it's like not producing images, where, like, dead internet theory, right? Which, if you don't know, is the theory that basically a majority of the internet is basically bot activity, which is increasingly becoming more and more plausible as I speak and as you watch this video. Um, right? And I guess I'm just fed up with it, and I think that you should own physical media. And that's sort of the transition that I want to talk about next, which is like, and I kind of already talked about, but like, I used to be a big YouTuber viewer, not creator, and you know, I'm not like that at all anymore. I can't. And obviously, I'm at school and I'm a bit more busy, but I find myself spending my free time doing actual activities I enjoy and just disconnecting. And whether that's hanging out with friends or whatever, and obviously I'm at school, so maybe I'm gonna do that a little bit more, right? But like, guys, I'm dyslexic and I brought books to read. Okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that makes it any more clear, right? And I think on top of that, a large issue also for me is just that I think what AI is doing, and you can talk about the learning stuff all you want, right? Is AI actually like teaching you this when you do your assignment? Whatever. I don't really care about that. What I care about is that I think what's happening is it's stunting people's growth, right? I think besides critical thinking skills and other things that you need to develop before you rely on that, or you're going to be relying on it the rest of your life, is that it makes me sad to think that someone like a future person might not do that, might not have their WompCult because like it's easier for AI to do it, which does might not line up with a lot of you, but like put that into perspective. Like you might not be able to do your hobby, or someone might be afraid to try a hobby because of an AI. And I know that's kind of a bold take, but it's really not, because of how many people are just rotting, and they just rot in their filth on the internet. And that's fine. I have my internet filth too, right? I mean, I still follow stuff, I still go on my phones, but I find myself distancing myself from that just because I guess I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of being in an echo chamber where the only thing that's repeated back to me are my thoughts and takes, and then once in a while there's something I disagree with so it knows it's doing a good job. That's exhausting, because that's no different than me doing this and not uploading it. That's all that is. And I guess I just feel like I had to say something, because it feels insane that people aren't saying something. And I want to be one of the people who do say something. And you can talk about how they're trying to get AI to replace artists and screenwriters and animators, and you can talk about how you should unionize if you're in one of those workforces. You should. It's not really a conversation. If you don't want to be someone else's little bitch, you should unionize. And yeah, and that's what sucks too, is I think that a lot of good art is sort of getting butchered before it has a chance to grow because of AI. And I guess that has sort of pissed me off for long enough to do this. Um, I usually don't have bold takes like this, and I kind of try to stay neutral because I really don't want to come off and offend anyone. But I've realized that if I walk on glass my whole life, I'm not going to get anything done. And I'd rather have a sort of semi-progressive conversation in the comments on why you disagree with me, and we both get something out of it, than me sit here and just try to make everyone feel comfortable and get people's hot chocolate, right? That's not really my job. I think my job is to, do what it is, right? And I think it's very different than that. And I do implore you guys to comment. If you think I'm wrong, comment down below why. And that goes for any video. That's not just this one. If you think I'm an idiot, say that. I mean, use your words, right? Um, Yo, Ryan. Yo, Michael. Yo. Man, I gotta edit it out anyway. Come in the room. My fault. Um, and that kind of goes into my next topic, which is basically just where could you get physical media? Well, I'm glad you asked. I personally got a lot of my physical media at thrift stores. Again, if you haven't seen my thrifting video, comment, not comment down below. Go watch that. That's kind of a banger. But if you guys didn't know, I'll go on a quick tangent. I love thrifting for a multitude of reasons. I think it's a great way to get things, um, and other things that you would not normally pay for if you had to pay the original price for, right? Something. I mean, I'm trying to look around my room to see what I thrifted. That is. Oh, I thrifted this. I use it as a pencil case, right? I mean, pretty cool. Um, Other thing I thrifted a cryptography book. I'm not going to grab it because it's acting as a structural support of a stack of things that's a little bit delicate. But even this monitor that this is being held onto, right? That's thrifted. I've talked to you guys about this before. I love thrifting. I never won't love thrifting. If you're specifically looking for physical media to own or things to sort of get out of the AI slop realm that is reels and kind of most of the internet, I really recommend books. I think books or reading on the internet. I think that's a little underrated. I've been reading recently about the cult of Dionysus, right? I didn't know that was a real thing. I originally knew the song, but yeah, I think that that's fascinating. And I implore all of you to go create something, right? If you are trying to find art or trying to find a technological solution to something, if you're really looking for anything and you don't find exactly what you're looking for, I really do think it's your responsibility to create that. And I think that's what I'm doing here. And I think on a lighter note, I think things will get better because I think a lot more people are sort of waking up to how much slop is on the internet, and they're refining that. And I know people are supporting local artists and businesses, and that's great. But you should go to your library. Go read a book from your library. Do you even have a library card? They're free. I have one. And even if you don't want to do that, and let's say you're super on a budget, me too. Go on the internet and look up LibGen, right? Go on Wikipedia. I can't tell you how much fun I've had recently by just reading Wikipedia in bed, like I'm a white woman reading smut, you know? It's great. I mean, honestly, and I think there are a lot of great books out there that I haven't even got had a chance to read, and I can't recommend to you, but I know one of my favorites is Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. I had to read it in high school, and I think I connected a lot with it more then than now, and I thought it was really cool then still. Um, but yeah, I actually read all of that, and I'm not gonna lie, reading is really hard for me. Um, my eyes and mind don't like to work together, right? A lot of different stuff going on, but it definitely is hard. But I think it's worth it, even as someone who is not the most able to do it in that sort of way, right? But hey, at least I got two pairs of eyes. My name's WompCult, and in case you didn't get the memo, stop stop feeding into the AI slop. Go pick up a book. Go read some media on your own. Go think for yourself. Make some art. Go do something today. Go do something today that tomorrow you'll be proud of yourself that you did. My name's WompCult, and I'll catch you around the big moon next time.